channel. My name is Caro, and normally I talk about books, but it's been so long that I think today's just gonna be an update. I've already filmed this twice. The first time our heater was on and it was making a really annoying noise in the background, so eh. And the second time, the battery died right in the middle of it and I didn't know. So hopefully this will be the best. Third time's the charm, right? Would you like to have a seat? Would you like to jump up? All right, hi. Hello, baby. She has her collar off because we didn't want to ruin the audio, you know. But hi, I know most of you probably don't care what's going on in my personal life, but I know that when I sort of like casually watch someone on YouTube and they take like a year-long break, I'm kind of nosy and I would like to know what's going on there. So I thought I would at least like address it before I try and start uploading a little more frequently. So where we left off a year ago, I was preparing to make a move to Maine, which we did, and I love it. I adore being here. I love being a Mainer, but it meant we just had a lot of transitions happening all at once. So we moved here in May of last year, so almost exactly a year ago, and I had two jobs upon moving here. So I worked as the book lead at a national bookstore chain full-time, and then I had been offered a freelance position as a props designer for a theater here in the Portland area. Started working at the bookstore, obviously loved being surrounded by books, but with some personal family stuff we had going on and with the commitment that I needed to be making for the props designing stuff, it was like, this just isn't feasible. So I scaled back to part-time, and even then, just the rigidity of, you know, retail scheduling, it was just not working out. So I did end up leaving that particular bookish job. So, oh, you got something in your eye. Hold on, you got something in your eye. Yeah, that was in your eyeball. So after leaving that job, I was able to take some time to be with family and focus on these freelance opportunities. And then I was offered my favorite job that I've ever had in my entire life. I'm currently working as a library assistant in the children's room at my local library. And I love it. It is absolutely the best, and I don't ever want to leave that job, ever. That, though, unfortunately does bring me to another update that's a little more unfortunate. And so I started that library job on October 2nd, but on October 1st, I had to make an emergency trip to the hospital where it was confirmed that I was currently miscarrying my first child. So obviously that was incredibly traumatic. I walked into my job the first day, and of course I'm working in the children's room, but I'm like praying that there's no children in there because I'm so just so devastated. And I walk up to my new boss and I'm like, "Hi, I'm Caro, it's so nice to meet you." And then I just started crying. And I was like, "I'm really fragile today. I just found out yesterday I'm going through a miscarriage." And she was like, "You don't have to be here right now." And her response and the response of the entire staff has just shown me that like, this is where I'm supposed to be. They have been so incredible, and not just them, but like the community here in Maine of like all these young families. They had no idea what I was going through, but they, you know, baked me cookies on Valentine's Day, and they let me come and babysit. They even watched me perform in some shows that I was in later on in 2021. And so I'm just so blessed that I'm in such a good place surrounded by so many people who loved me without knowing what was going on and loved me knowing what was going on. I was also still working at that theater, and they were incredible as well. They were some of the very few people that actually knew that I was pregnant. I was reluctant to say anything in case something like this happened, but obviously I was in a show, so it was very physical. So I was like, "Hey, no, I just found out that I'm pregnant." And so then like 2 weeks later I had to be like, "Hey, I'm not." So I was able to continue working with that particular theater. And girl, you were riding on my last nerves. You're riding on my last nerves. But once December hit, I decided I wanted to take the remainder of the winter off. Eat over here! Eat over there! Go eat over there! Sorry if you hear some chewing noises. I've had to give my dog a bully stick because she was just being very rambunctious. And like I said, this is the third time that I've filmed this. Not my smartest decision, but you do what you gotta do. So I was able to do some more shows with that particular theater company, and I've loved it. We ended up doing a musical version of Frederick by Leo Liani, and this was so much fun to get to do, combining my love of like children's books with theater, and it was so much fun. But I knew at that point that I needed to take at least the beginning of 2022 off just to be at the library and to kind of get my booty in gear about this book that I've been writing and working on off and on for about 5 years now. I don't even know if I've mentioned it on this channel. I have been working on a narrative nonfiction manuscript about my childhood. That sounds so egotistical, like. My youngest brother has been in a coma for about 17 years after an accident. It happened when I was 14. And it was one of those things where I was constantly searching at that time for media that made sense to me. And all the like YA books I read and like movies and TV shows I watched, it was like grief was depicted as like you needed a death. Like there needed to be that form of closure for you to be able to kind of move on and reconcile with what was going on. And that just didn't feel right to my experience of how do you grieve somebody and things in your life, the loss of these things, when they're technically still here. They've just changed and they look different, and you're essentially in this purgatory of grief because you're waiting for them to pass away and you're waiting for it to essentially get worse. It's like, how do you find joy in that process of waiting? And I just never felt like I had something like that. And so I started writing it just kind of as like a therapy thing for me to kind of get out some of this stuff that I had like repressed for all these years. Then I felt like, oh, I have it, might as well do something with it. So I've been working with an editor for a while on this project. Of course, it's been off and on. You know, once the miscarriage happened, I was like, I don't really want to write about childhood trauma anymore. So I've kind of taken my time on it, but we are in the final round. My editor has it. She's currently doing the copy / line edit, whichever she's doing right now. And I will be ready to query literary agents, I guess technically this month, because tomorrow is May 1st, which kind of makes me want to throw up. So yeah, that's kind of my big thing now, is getting that ready and in order and just feeling okay with that. Just getting ready for rejection, basically. We were able to take a trip to England. I'm so sorry, that bully stick is so loud. It's like sticking out of her mouth like a cigar. It just looks really funny. We were able to take a trip to England last month. My dad just had this idea of like, we've been putting off these big family vacations because, you know, our family's all scattered around now and we're all adults and doing our own thing. And he's like, but you know, if you're gonna expand your family soon, this might be our last chance. So I've been trying to, you know, process the grief, but also look at things that I may not have been able to do had this pregnancy stayed viable. You know, we definitely would not have been able to make this trip, especially not in the middle of a pandemic. And so I'm grateful for that. And I am grateful for kind of the fire that it lit under me. I think there are things in my life that I want to do that would probably be more difficult as a mom. Not to say you can't do all that you want to do and accomplish all your dreams and be who you want to be when you're a mom. Not saying that at all. I just know for me, when I was pregnant, like I already felt like crap just in the very early weeks. And I can't imagine how lazy I would become really, really continuing to grow that child. So I just know that I have things that I need to take care of now while I can. And it was really kind of further cemented when I read this book. It's called A Very Big House in the Country by Claire Sandy. And this is not something I would normally read. We rented a very big house in the country in Devon in England, which is where this is set. And so I picked it up because I wanted to read about where we were going. And there was a really incredible quote in this that I liked. Now, this is not, again, my normal thing. I will probably never reread it. It was fun, it was cute, there was drama, it was, you know, it's a little long for what it is in my opinion, but there was one line in particular that really kind of solidified what I am feeling right now about this post miscarriage kind of thing. And I should have marked it in the book, but I didn't. I just took a picture of it. But it says, 2 more babies, 2 more anchors. Beautiful anchors, yes. Beloved, longed for, and cherished. But like all anchors, they were heavy. And I just really appreciated that look into kind of how I felt. It's like, yes, we wanted this baby, and like, yes, we prayed for this baby, and so wanted it to turn out differently than it did. But yeah, there are things that will be more difficult to make happen when your priorities change. And so I've been trying to take this opportunity to kind of get the ball rolling on some things that I've had on the back burner. But I'm so grateful for where I am. I'm so grateful for the people that I have around me, and I'm feeling good, which is not something I ever thought I'd be able to say after a miscarriage. You know, it's a grief that I kind of felt like, you know, like this grief of the loss of my brother. It's like you sort of feel like I'm never gonna be okay again, let alone good. I just sort of get used to the pain, but I feel good. I do, and I'm grateful for that. So I hope I can continue to upload soon. Like I said, I'm still working at the children's room at the library, and so I'm surrounded by books all day, and I'd love to continue to talk about them. So hopefully I've got now more of a routine now that we're settled. I've got eggs in different baskets, but hopefully I'm able to kind of make it a priority to continue to do some other things I'm excited about. Thank you guys for sitting through this rambly, nonsensey video update. So I hope your 2022 is off to a beautiful start, and if it's not, you know, it's not one of those New Year's resolution things where it has to start beautiful at the beginning. We can make it beautiful today, and make the rest of it great. So I hope you're all doing well, and hopefully I will be able to talk to you soon. Bye, friends.